All right, let's start then. Welcome everybody again. Good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are sitting and joining our webinar. Thank you all for taking the time and showing your interest towards our webinar. Before we start, I would like to go through some organizational issues which I would like to mention. I hope that up to this moment, all of you have reasonably good and really good audio. Please keep your microphones muted all the time so that we can keep the good audio quality and there will be not too many interferences from the connection. Also about videos, it is not necessary for you to share any of your video. I switched my video off on purpose just to take all the precautions to make sure that the quality of the broadcast is at the best it can be. About questions and maybe discussions which might appear during the webinar, there is a chat box. I hope that you could all find it until now. You can write to the chat box. Maybe you will find that there is a possibility that you can write privately to anyone which is part of the webinar. But if you have questions, we recommend to write publicly to everyone so that everybody can see the question, and whenever I will answer, then the answer will be also useful for somebody else in the meeting. The questions I will take and I will try to answer all of them after the presentation. If you have any commercial questions, for example, price related questions, or if you have immediately some demonstration requests, please contact your local distributors for this kind of questions. If you are not familiar, if you don't know where to find your local distributors, you can either go to the location which is on the screen to find your local distributor, or just contact us directly and we will put you in touch with them. The webinar itself is planned for about 45 to 50 minutes, so that will be the time more or less which will take to go through the content which I prepared. After that, we can take as much time as needed to answer your questions. All right, let's just taking a laser pointer, and we are ready to start. So the future of electrochemistry is pure, and what makes it pure is one of the factors is the introducing of VIONIC powered by INTELLO, which is one of our newly released electrochemical systems consisting of hardware and software. And during the next 45 to 50 minutes, I hope that I'll be able to convince you that the future of electrochemistry is pure by showing you different features, specific features, which we think will fulfill most of the needs of you, which you have, the electrochemical researchers have in general. Before we start with the content, just a few words about the presenter. So this is me. My name is Iosif Fromondi. I am the product manager here in Metrohm Autolab, and basically I'm responsible for the whole product portfolio. I'm also the head of the marketing and sales support team. I work in Metrohm Autolab for almost 14 years. So later this year will be 14 years since I joined. And I have an electrochemistry background. I did my PhD specifically in electrochemistry and electrocatalysis, focusing specifically on the CO oxidation on single crystal platinum electrodes. So now you know who is on the other side of the slides, who is talking to you. This is what I will try to cover during this presentation. So I will start with a short introduction of Metrohm Autolab, really only a few slides for those of you which are not very familiar with the company. And then we will dive into the details, showing the typical needs and the features which will fulfill those needs for the electrochemistry researchers, focusing on efficiency, versatility, and safety. Metrohm. Metrohm Autolab belongs to the Metrohm Group, and Metrohm is a fairly large company with more than 2,000 employees worldwide. Metrohm has instruments delivered basically almost in every part of the world. So in more than 120 countries, we deliver and support and service instrumentation. We have direct Metrohm participation in 45 plus countries, which means that there is a Metrohm office owned by Metrohm in those countries. But we also have some countries where we sell indirectly with exclusive distributors. So basically our network, it's a very strong network, and we make all we can to have our people as close as possible to our customers, so that technical and any kind of help could be provided in the most efficient way. In terms of portfolio, general portfolio of Metrohm, the products are based for the products which are developed and produced and sold by Metrohm are for chemical analysis and characterizations, and specifically for ion analysis. So there is instrumentation for titration, ion chromatography. There is a group dealing with spectroscopy products, and of course, last but not least, the group dealing with products focusing on the electrochemistry, for the electrochemistry applications. If we focus on the group of electrochemistry, so we have the so-called Metrohm Electrochemistry, and Metrohm Autolab is part of the Metrohm Electrochemistry group. This group was consolidated in 4 years ago in 2017. And beside Metrohm Autolab, we are also together in the group with Metrohm DropSense, our company specialized on screen printed electrodes and portable compact instruments in Spain, and the Metrohm VA CVS, which are our colleagues in Switzerland, which are specialized for electroanalytical techniques, VA and CVS for industrial applications. In terms of portfolio, we say that we cover everything which is needed for electrochemistry. So we develop, we produce, and sell and support instrumentation and optional modules to increase the function, to extend the functionality of the instrumentation. We also supply accessories like cells, electrodes, accessories for automation, accessories for temperature controlled measurements, and so on. We also develop our own software. For those of you which are familiar with our products and work with our products, you might know and worked with the Nova software. And we also provide the service and support. And as I said earlier, due to our strong distribution network, our representatives, our trained colleagues are close to your location and ready to help. And as the title of the webinar says, the future of electrochemistry is pure, and this is all due to VIONIC, powered by INTELLO. This is our newest instrument, which was released earlier this year. Instrument electrochemical system, which offers the maximum experimental possibilities, an intelligent software, and the most allows the users to get the most complete data. All right, let's go into more concrete details and presenting different features which will fulfill the typical needs of the electrochemical researchers. As I said, we think that all researchers want to have a versatile instrument, so they want versatility. All researchers want to be efficient to produce as much as possible with the lowest amount of resources and as fast as possible. And also, all researchers want safety, besides physical safety, which is obvious, but also think about data safety and think about safety of your sample. So nobody wants to destroy samples during the experiments. So pure versatility, we are fulfilling this need with an unmatched, with the instrument which has an unmatched standard specifications, so VIONIC. And as you will see in details in a few slides, I will go through all the most important features which and specifications which this instrument has. Then efficiency, VIONIC together with INTELLO, which is the software which controls the instrument, are basically full of time-saving features, which basically by using them will optimize your workflow and will make your life much easier and your measurement much faster, and also much safer, because the smart hardware together with the software features will protect your cell, your lab, and also your data. So let's see which are exactly the features which we are thinking of when we are thinking of having a versatile instrument for our customers. VIONIC has a compliance voltage of ± 50 volts with a dual compliance mode. What does it mean? It means that you can use VIONIC either in high compliance mode, so whenever you have experiments which require high compliance instruments, so for example, measurement in organic electrolytes, measurements in general with electrolytes which have low conductivities, or for example, measurements in oil samples and so on, then users will need high compliance mode. We have that. But if most of the measurements are done in conductive aqueous solutions, so like many typical electrochemical experiments which are carried out in the lab, or let's say, for example, in most of the energy research, the resistance of the cell, it's very low. Then we have the high accuracy mode, which will use a compliance voltage up to 10 volts, all in the same instrument without any additional features. Then also related to the main specifications, to the highest combined specifications in one single instrument, it's the standard current, which is ±6 amps. And this current is both for applied values and also measured values. The current range, the full current range, is divided in 11 separate current ranges, current sensors, between 1 nanoamp and 6 amp. So which means that you can easily measure currents on the order of a few picoamps up to 6 amps, so a very wide dynamic range, and you will get the smoothest and the most sensitive signal over the full range. Continuing with the highest combined specifications in one single instrument is also the EIS feature, so the electrochemical impedance spectroscopy, which has the highest frequency up to 10 megahertz, and also amplitudes which can be applied. They can be applied over the complete range of the instrument, which is either 10 volts in potential static mode or 6 amps in galvanostatic mode, whenever the AC is measured on the top. And I will get back to some details about EIS, but also you will see that it does provide the most accurate measurements over a wide range of frequencies and impedances. And additionally, for those of you who are looking or are their application require to measure fast transients or to study very fast electrochemical processes, we have a sampling interval down to 1 microsecond, so very fast sampling, so that we open the possibilities to discover and to find information, electrochemical information on a very low time scale as well. So all these all combine in one instrument without any additional add-ons to it. What else? Also in the same instrument, also contributing to the versatility. I will give you now some details about the electrochemical impedance spectroscopy. I already mentioned that we offer one of the most accurate EIS measurements. You can do it in galvanostatic mode, in potential static mode. Maximum frequency is up to 10 megahertz, minimum frequency 10 microhertz. This will allow you basically to connect and measure electrochemical processes on any type of samples, and try to have the results of the impedance measurements giving you an indication of all the separate phenomena which is going on at the electrochemical interface. Talking about accurate EIS measurements, you can see that on the largest part of the range, we achieve a highest accuracy, which is better than 99.75%, or to say it in the other way, the errors which you would get would be lower than 0.25%. And we can also go to a very wide measurement range for the total impedance. So we still guarantee a certain accuracy level up to 10 teraohm, up to 1 teraohm, sorry, and down to 100 microohm. Measurements are also possible outside of this presented contour plot, but we will not guarantee any of the accuracy levels if the measurements are outside. In the same instrument, again, without any additional features, is standard delivered a second sense electrode, so which is used for measuring a second potential in the same electrochemical cell, a second potential versus the reference electrode. So basically providing the means of measuring an additional signal to collect data from an additional electrode. For example, you can connect the second sense to the counter electrode, and then you will be able to monitor the potential which is applied basically to the counter electrode versus reference, so that you can make sure that there are no auxiliary or no unwanted reactions taking place at the counter electrode. Also, you can do impedance spectroscopy on the second sense, which means that, for example, if you are doing research on the field of energy and developing batteries, you can measure EIS at the same time on the cathode and on the anode, so you can follow the electrochemical processes on both electrodes at the same time. The next feature which I want to mention is the analog scan. Analog scan is required and provides the most accurate way of measuring interfacial electrochemical processes. So for those of you which are involved in research which requires measurement of the electrochemical interface, and then the use of this analog scan is a must-have. And just to clarify what exactly analog scan is for those of you which are not very familiar. So whenever you do, for example, CV, a cyclic voltammogram, you apply a certain potential profile, which looks like this versus time, so potential versus time. But if we zoom in and if we look exactly how that potential is applied, you can see that one way of applying it's in the staircase way. So basically there are small steps applied and there is one step for each measurement point. And this is the actually the typical way which cyclic voltammogram is measured with any of the instrumentation which is available worldwide now. And this is due to the digital nature of the instrumentation which is built. Now, if we use this kind of staircase scan, then there are some specific information. There is some specific information which can be missed, and in that case, the analog linear scan is needed. And you see, as in this example, in this case, we have a smooth scan, a smooth potential ramp without any staircase on it. I will, for the sake of time, I will not go into more details about the differences and the results which you can get with these two type of scans. But if you have any questions, I do encourage you to get in touch with us and we can clarify further details, and we can also give you different examples, point you to an application note and so on, so you can find and learn about the differences about these two scans. Again, analog scan included standard with the VIONIC. VIONIC instrument is has the selectable floating feature. What does it mean? It means that you can use VIONIC either in standard mode, in which we would say most of the measurements which are carried out in the laboratory are done. So whenever you have a standard electrochemical cell, which the cell itself is not grounded, then you use the VIONIC in non-floating mode. But there are applications and there are requirements to do electrochemistry on other type of cells. And again, beside the standard mode, when nothing is floating, then we can have electrochemical cells with a working electrode being grounded. We can have electrochemical cells with counter electrodes being grounded, or we can have electrochemical cells which use a conductive cell vessel, conductive container, which in itself it's connected to the earth. So in any of these cases, VIONIC is suitable. So you can use one and the same instrument for measuring electrochemistry in any of these type of cells. So that's the selectable floating feature, again included standard. Now a few words about the power of the instrument and how we distribute the power. That's the distributed power feature. Basically, we have a suitable power for any type of application. I already mentioned earlier when I mentioned the high compliance voltage, plus minus 50 volt, that we have a dual compliance mode, which means that we either have 50 volt compliance voltage or 10 volt compliance voltage, but all these combined with different current measurements as well. So For example, what you see on the screen now, it's the actual power contour map of VIONIC. So this is the power which VIONIC can handle. And if we go and show what it means in terms of applications, it means that applications which usually require high current measurements basically never use high compliance mode. For example, in energy research, in batteries, as I said, the high compliance mode is not necessary because all the cells are highly conductive, low resistance cells, but the current measurement, the high current measurement is more important. If you look on the other side for applications which, for example, whoever is working in corrosion applications and corrosion in oils or in or other applications which use organic electrolytes, in those cases, most of the time, the currents are not very high. So we provide the possibility to use with high compliance voltage and still provide enough current to measure for all of those applications. For sensor research, basically compliance and also currents are not very high, so they fit very well in the center. And for those of you who is doing electrosynthesis and electrodeposition, we also have high compliance mode, which sometimes might be used, but we also provide currents up to 3 amps, which we think that most of the time for laboratory measurements, for research related measurements, it fulfills the needs. So distributed power, which makes the instrument versatile, suitable for any type of applications. Moreover, additional features which will add to the versatility is the pure signal bridge, basically with the adaptive cables together. Basically, VIONIC comes with fixed cell cables, so you don't have to worry about connectors and connecting cables to the instrument. They are always there, and we guarantee the specifications of the instruments up to 1 meter from the instrument. And then to these fixed cables, we can attach shorter adaptive cables, removable adaptive cables, and we provide them with different connector types. Standard with a well-known 4mm banana, but for those researchers which will need different type of connectors because they have different type of cells, we can offer alligator clips, we can offer 2mm bananas for smaller cells, but we can also offer insulated BNC connectors in the case, for example, you want to connect to a device which is inside the glove box. So for a feed through the glove box, very conveniently, for convenience, we offer the cables which have directly the right connector on them. So you never have to worry about adapters and about losing or distorting your electrochemical signal with different adapters. Last but not least, for versatility, I want to mention the design. We really put some effort into designing this instrument, and we took into the consideration the working environment and working habits of our customers. And yeah, beside the fact that we think with a really beautiful instrument, but from the versatility point of view, we come up with a smart design, an optimized shape, so it will fit very easily on a busy working bench. It also fits nicely on a shelf. It has a small footprint, lightweight for all the features which it has included. It's only 13 kilograms, and no accessories are needed. So you can keep your working place neat without additional boxes and cables hanging around. So that was these were the features which we think will help and will make actually which make the instrument one of the most versatile on the market. Let's see what features will increase the efficiency of your work. So from the software point of view, we designed the new user interface in a way that you can we have the so-called main parameters available, and we will come back to this in a few slides with some more details. But having a specific feature of the main parameters will allow you to streamline your workflow. You can select your own parameters which you want to display and then have access to them to change them easily. And you can also delegate very easily routine type of measurements. So if you have a complex procedure on the background and you want one of your less experienced colleagues to run those procedures, you can spare the stress and the work of your colleague, and you just bring up only the main parameters which he or she needs to change, and you can bring a lot to the efficiency of your work. Then the results are displayed with a very nicely and efficiently made plotting feature, so called Insight Plots. We create multi-plot overview, so you can show as many plots as really needed. You can overlap them. You can create and build the plots before, during, and after measurements very easily. You will also see some details a little bit later. And also, last but not least, the automatic coloring. So if you have multiple scans or multiple repeats, we will change the color of each of these cycle automatically for you, so that you can find back your measurement in the easiest and fastest way. Then for those of you who really need to create your own custom procedures, either simple or complex, you can use the procedure sequence editor, which will allow you to create unique procedures, avoid errors, with a full sequence overview, and also follow the execution of the commands in real time. Also to mention for efficiency is the new feature which we are introducing with VIONIC and INTELLO, which we call untethering. What does it mean? It means that the user can start the measurement with a PC connected, and then if the measurement is long, the user can just walk away and even take the PC with him, so that the computer can be used for other tasks in another room for doing something else. And in the meantime, VIONIC will take over the job and will continue the measurement, just running the experiment without the computer. So what features, what can INTELLO do with concerning this feature? INTELLO will tell you whenever disconnected, it will tell you how long you can keep your computer disconnected. So it will, whenever you disconnect, it will tell you that you have 6 hours until reconnection is needed. And whenever reconnected, the initial the plots are initiated. So basically all the data transfer is done automatically, and the plots are built and brought up to date automatically. In terms of VIONIC, the hardware, the instrument, on the dynamic interface of the instrument, so on the face of the instrument, you will see a signage which will tell you if the experiment is still running or if reconnection is needed, if the user attention is needed, and so on. And the instrument actually has a built-in memory which will allow you to store up to 10 million data points. Again, the memory, it's part of built into the VIONIC instrument. Also helping to improve efficiency with your work and in your lab is the dynamic interface. So what it means, the dynamic interface will give you an indication of real-time values of state of the experiment, state of the instrument, anytime during the measurement. So basically there are indications, combinations of light, color, and modulation on different parts of the dynamic interface, and each of these modulation it has a meaning related, as I said, to the state of the instrument and to the state of the experiment. Useless to say that this will allow you to do something else during a longer measurement. It will allow you to prepare an next cell. It will allow you to clean an electrode or basically do anything else in the lab, not necessarily staying and watching your measurement very close to the instrument on the computer. All right, last but not least, the features which will add to the safety. So there are smart safety features for samples, data, and the laboratory. And this is what the features are. So basically we are automatically saving the data. As long as the instrument is connected to VIONIC, the data is saved automatically to the computer in special databases. We also have substantial, as I mentioned earlier, onboard memory. So in case of even accidental disconnections between VIONIC and the computer, the data continues to be stored in the onboard memory. So basically, you can disconnect, as I said, the computer on purpose, or if something happens, it's if an update runs on the software, or if somebody accidentally clicks on something which it shouldn't, and the software loses communication with the instrument, the measurement will continue and the data will be stored on VIONIC. Then in terms of sample protection, sample safety, we have an accessible cell button, so any user can feel comfortable to interact with the cell, basically at any point in the measurement. So there is a cell button which will immediately turn the cell off whenever you need to interact and change something in your electrochemical cell, for example. We have a built-in oscillation protection feature. This is important for certain electrochemical measurements which are really run at the limit of the system, of the capabilities of the system. And basically what it does is whenever the instrument loses control over the potential feedback, it gets into oscillation. This can happen again depending on the sample and on the potential which is applied and on the potential profile which is applied. It does happen sometimes. But we make sure that if it happens, your sample will not be damaged, because this oscillation will be detected automatically and the protection feature will kick in, which means that the cell will be switched off automatically. Now, if the instrument, for whatever reasons, goes into error mode, for example, if it's overheated or if something happened with the hardware. Then also we have the automatic cell isolate feature, which basically disconnects totally also potential and current. So basically it's a full disconnection of the electrochemical cell from the rest of the instrument, which means that not even accidentally is possible to apply wrong values to the cell. Now a few words about INTELLO, which is the new software, the new intelligent software which powers VIONIC. So these are the main leads with different features which we learned that our users are looking for. So pure ease. Every user wants the software to be as easy as possible. Pure workflow. We figured that there are different type of users in different research labs. There are experienced, there are less experienced, somebody which needs to create complex, fancy procedures. Other users are just okay with using standard procedures. Plotting, pure plots, it's very important for our users. Collaboration. Every user, independently of the role in a lab, either that it's PhD student or it's postdoc or it's assistant professor or professor, they need to collaborate with each other. So they need to share data and procedures and so on. That's also which we took into account. And again, how we handle data and what we can do with it. So the pure workflow, I already mentioned the main parameters features, which will make it possible the use of a routine workflow. So you use INTELLO in a routine way. You can just select main parameters and interact only with these main parameters. You do not worry anymore anytime about the rest of the procedure. It's very easy to delegate measurements in this way. Then for those of you which need to create complex procedures, for those of you which if the standard offered procedures will not fulfill your experimental needs, you can create your own procedures with a sequence editor. Also, to the pure ease, it's the intuitiveness, the consistency, the drag and drop feature, and the integrated help. And in this very short clip, you will see how basically everything works. You can drag and drop and create a workflow, the procedure sequence. You can create different plots. Again, drag and drop. You can overlay the plots on top of each other. It's all very intuitive as much as possible. It has the drag and drop feature in it, and all with very, as I said, intuitive design. Also, consistency and integrated help. So instead of sending our users to a user manual, which usually ends up to be very big and complex, we integrated in each measurement command the information which is related to that command. So if any of the researcher would like to know more details about what a certain command does, then inside that command, all the information is available. It is always in the same place with the same type of link, so it's very easy to find. That's also about integrated help and consistency. And additionally, also we have additional helping features for some of the users. If you do, for example, a CV, the applied potential profile is shown, created in real time. So the user will see all the time in real time what type of profile will be actually applied to the cell. Again, it's intuitive, it's always consistent. We use drag and drop as much as possible, and we integrate the help in the best possible way. Looking at the plots, yes, we have a multi-plot view. We can combine plots, again, drag and drop as much as possible, and automatic coloring. And the next clip shows such an example. So whenever we start a measurement, we can also create plots after starting the measurement. As you can see now, you can just drag and drop the command from which you want to see the data. You can also drag and drop another command on top of the same plot so that you will have an overlay automatically. You can combine the plots also afterwards, and you see the coloring changing also automatically. You can pop up the plots in a separate window. And also you can select, if you have multiple cycles, you can select how many cycles, which cycle you actually want to visualize in that plot. In terms of collaboration, we have individual usernames, and then depending on each user or how it is set up, we have and where the data and the procedures are saved. They can be saved either in personal folders or in shared libraries. So as you can see here, there is there are different places where we can when the data can be saved, like in personal library, in a shared library, in Autolab library as well. So if a certain user is saving procedures and data in the personal library, when somebody else will use the same computer, the same INTELLO, then the second user will not see the data of the first user if the data was saved in the personal library. On the other hand, if somebody throws the data in the shared library, then basically all the users will have access and can use the data and the procedures from the shared library. Also, we can share individually. So if there is only one thing, one procedure or one run which we want to share or to export, we can do it individually, one by one as well. So for the data, we also have, as I mentioned, the data is continuously saved. We also have the onboard memory, but we can also handle the data and export it. We can export the data table to ASCII, to Excel format, and we can also export a certain measurement directly into NOVA for further data analysis. So for those of you which are familiar with NOVA, then you know that it already has all the analysis features implemented. You can just transfer the measured data into NOVA with a one-click tool. All right. So I hope that in the last few minutes and all the slides which I showed you earlier, I managed to convince you that our new electrochemical system, VIONIC, powered by INTELLO, will actually help you reach a pure efficiency with your work, will allow you to have an instrument which will which will be simply the pure versatile instrument in your lab. Basically, you will be able to use it to any of your experiments, and also will assure you pure safety for you, for your data, and for your samples, which will lead you to pure discovery, basically to discover new features, new processes, new things through your research work. Just to mention that this electrochemical system, it also is offered with the industry-leading 3 years warranty. So all the hardware, it's covered by 3 years warranty. That was all the content which I had prepared for today. Thank you all for following, and again for your time, for joining. If you would like to have a demonstration to try out or to see the instrument, how it works, you can either contact immediately your local distributor or contact us by following the link metrohm.com/demo VIONIC. You can just ask for a demo through this location, or just write us to autolab@metrohm.com, and we will certainly put you in contact with our local sales and support office. All right. Then again, thank you very much. Now we have some time to take questions, if there are any. So I encourage you, if you have the questions, please type them in the chat box. So there is already a question: how analytically friendly VIONIC is to stripping potentiometry? The specific method, the potential stripping voltammetry method, is not yet implemented. The hardware is ready for it. It will require software implementation, which will make it available only with a simple software update. I expect it will come somewhere in the future. I cannot give you exact timeline for now. So for specific potential stripping potentiometry, I would say the method will come in the future. So there is a question if the DAC, digital to analog, and analog to digital converter is 18-bit. The converter itself, it is 18-bit, but the architecture of the instrument, which specifically I'm referring to the true parallel data acquisition. So which means that all the signals like current, potential have a dedicated parallel line for the converter throughout the instrument, and also combined with the power of the processor, we are able to enhance the resolution to 24-bit. So we are, I don't know if you are familiar or not, we are using the DC sampling technique. I can send you, if you want, just you can contact me by email and I can send you details about how the enhancement is done. But the conclusion is that we offer the performance equivalent to the 24-bit resolution. So I will still be waiting around for a few more minutes for any additional questions which might come. For those of you which do not have questions or need to leave, again, I would like to thank you very much for joining. And also feel free to get in touch with us so that we can offer you a demo, so we can prove that whatever we stated in this webinar, it will be really helpful for your research. About price, as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, our local sales organization will be more than happy to give you the price. So the price is not secret. The product is available on the market, but I'm not in a position to give prices for different markets. Please contact your local Metrohm distributor. If you don't know who it is, just feel free to contact me and I will put you in touch with them.